Rising, easy history, creating driving vlogs. Sometimes we see a road hard, but we still continue our vlog. Safety checks and prayers, looking for explores, cranking our engine with the intention of a job well done. Eyes, ears, easy, eyes are turning, creating driving vlogs. Sometimes we see a road hard, but we still continue our vlog. Driving in the light or dark, even in their car park. We're gonna chase our
Question for you, my Triple E people,
and salad
and welcome back to the driver's seat.
greens.
But before that question, where are we today? Well, this is the end of the road for Trinidad. Literally. Yes, folks, we are at the literal end of the line. Behind me, you saw the Heritage Petroleum Field Office. So the question for you all today is, what is the net worth of this southeast corner of Trinidad, Guayaguayare, as compared with the other ends of Trinidad? That is Point Galera in the northeast, Chaguaramas in the northwest, and Icacos in the southwest of Trinidad. Well, I did some research online. I searched for a direct financial comparison of Trinidad's 4 extreme points: Guayaguayare, southeast; Galera Point, northeast; Chaguaramas, northwest; and Icacos, southwest. But official figures for such a specific comparison aren't publicly available. However, the search results clearly show that the net worth of these areas are not equal, as their economic value is derived from very different sources. However, one end of Trinidad appears to be the most valuable in terms of pure assets, while the other areas contribute through tourism, agriculture, and diversified industry. Let's count down to the richest end of Trinidad. Let's count down to the richest corner of Trinidad. We will pause here to observe Galeota Point at the port of Galeota in the distance. you can see a ship and oil rigs on the horizon. Right. Okay, now back to the countdown. In fourth place is the northeast, Galera Point. Galera Point in Toco is the sleeping giant of the four corners. Primary assets are tourism, fishing, and the Toco lighthouse. Its economic value. Currently, its value is almost entirely environmental. It is a gateway for locals and a hub for small-scale fishing. The net worth factor. At present, it has the lowest industrial net worth. However, with the ongoing development of the Valencia-Toco Highway and the proposed Toco Port, Toco being the closest Trinidad point to Tobago, its book value, quote-unquote, is expected to skyrocket over the next decade. Only time will tell. Moving on. In third place, southwest corner, the frontier corner, Icacos is third. Important but not fully monetized. Why? Icacos is rich in land, but its economic output is largely artistic. Primary assets include massive coconut estates, which is historically the king of the area, artisanal fishing, and cross-border trade, both formal and informal, with Venezuela. The economic value is the agricultural and fishing frontier. While there is oil exploration nearby, it hasn't seen massive industrialization. It lacks the major pipeline landing, plus upstream logistics, and therefore dominance. The net worth factor is of low industrial value, but high ecological and agricultural potential. It is a toss-up for the most neglected corner of Trinidad, quote-unquote, in terms of infrastructure investment. Now we are down to the final two. Chaguaramas in the northwest and Guayaguayare in the southeast. Before I reveal what I discovered, what are your thoughts on the richest? And here we are, what is popularly called Waya's sea wall on the right. Nothing like Guyana's seawall. And right here is the Guayaguayare fishing depot, a US $5 million misfire. Let's pause our countdown to talk a bit on this fishing depot. Fishing depot in Guayaguayare was a $5 million US facility, approximately $35 million at the time. Started in 2009 and completed in 2012 as part of the Port of Galeota Phase 1 project and managed by the National Energy Corporation, NEC. Facility was built to serve fishermen from Guayaguayare and surrounding villages like Utua, Plaisance, and Grand Lagoon. Depot was designed as a modern hub with fuel, water, and ice for preserving catches. Cold storage facilities, 25 lockers to store both engines and gear, washrooms and parking spaces. The goal was to end the exploitation of vendors who were paid quote-unquote next to nothing for fish. Some fishermen had no way to store their catch and were forced to sell quickly before it spoiled. What were the reasons for the failure? Well, the depot never functioned due to the critical design flaws that made it impossible for fishermen to use. Some of the problems were: pier was 8 feet higher. Pier is 8 feet higher than boats, so fishermen cannot step from the boat onto the pier. Additionally, poorly dredged harbor. Boats cannot safely dock. The Atlantic waves batter the facility, and the force of waves make docking impossible when the tide comes in. At present, fishermen pull their boats onto the shore. The Agricultural Minister in 2019 said that contractor is not at fault because he built it according to the designs given. Fault lay with the planning and design phase in 2009, which failed to account for local conditions. Years after the completion, which was in 2012, a 24-hour security guard remains posted at the empty facility to protect assets. The then minister estimated it would cost an additional $15 million to reconfigure the facility for proper use. Fishermen were forced to continue landing their boats on a nearby stretch of beach with no lights, water, or cold storage. Former MP for the area said local experts had noted that the construction of the Galeota port complex had altered the water and tide behavior, exacerbating the pertinent problems, and subsequent disrepair had left the fishing port in a state of utter disarray. In the past 7 years, facility was allowed to deteriorate with vandalized equipment, weather damage, and general neglect, further compounding the problem. The Moruga fishing complex is also a case of history repeating itself. The situation in Moruga is strikingly similar. But that story is for another day. Right, back to our countdown. To recap, 4th place, Galera Point, Toco. 3rd place, Icacos. Coming in at 2nd is the Northwest Chaguaramas, the service and leisure corner. How many of you agreed with me? How many of you got it right? It should mean that this corner, which we are driving through, is the richest end or richest corner of Trinidad. Let's discuss it. Chaguaramas is a runoff, but it operates in a completely different sector. Its primary assets are yachting industry, the hurricane hole of the Caribbean, the Coast Guard headquarters, warehousing, and tourism. Economic value is based on a service-based economy. It generates significant foreign exchange through the yachting sector and ship repair services. Its net worth factor lies in, while high in real estate value and military importance, its contribution to the national budget is far lower than the black gold coming out of the southeast. Coming out of here in Guayaguayare. It has got deep natural harbor, maritime access to the Gulf of Paria, industrial and naval importance, ship repair, port proximity to Port of Spain, So real estate plus tourism plus yachting plus fence value. Gateway to Venezuela's shipping lanes. If fully monetized, Chaguaramas could rival major regional logistic zones. Its wealth is in infrastructure and strategic geography. Right. So much for fourth, third, and second. On to the economic heavyweight, the richest end of Trinidad. This southeast Guayaguayare, the trillion-dollar center, trillion-dollar corner. This corner represents tens of billions of USD equivalent in strategic national value. Not because the village itself is rich, but because the hydrocarbons flowing through this area underpin a huge proportion of national GDP. Its primary assets include Galeota terminal in terms of logistics, heritage petroleum landfills, and the BPTT offshore hubs. In terms of economic value, this corner manages the lion's share of the nation's energy wealth. Billions of dollars are buried under the soil or anchored off the coast. So the net worth factor, if the energy sector contributes roughly 25 to 30% of the national GDP, the majority of that physical activity is funneled through the Guayaguayare Galeota corridor. In terms of sheer cash flow and industrial asset value, this corner is worth more than other three combined. I repeat, this corner is worth more than the other three corners combined. This area is basically Trinidad's offshore energy front door. Why? Well, let's recap. Major offshore gas fields connect here. Countries' major natural gas pipelines come ashore here. Gas feeding both Atlantic LNG in Point Fortin and Point Lisa's industrial estate passes through here. Major operators like BPTT, BHP, and Petrotrin historically maintain strong operations here. Port of Galeota is described by National Energy as the logistics hub for the upstream energy sector and supports offshore exploration and production companies. Guayaguayare is specifically noted as a major petroleum center, where the major natural gas pipelines come ashore. This is why the southeast corner is the economic hub. In plain Trinity terms, if Trinidad was an engine, Guaya is a fuel tank. While Chaguaramas fans grow, Tuco and Icacos and scenic windows. The southeast corner is where power is generated. Is a place where the national budget is written in oil and gas before a single cent is spent elsewhere. So, I hope you enjoyed that bit of economic analysis. It went to pass through the town of Fire, head along the beachfront to Manzanella, then inland, ending the journey, you guess it, at Sangui Grand. Some more about Guayaguayare. Guayaguayare is the southeasternmost village of Trinidad and Tobago. It lies at the southern end of the county of Fire. Guayaguayare, often simply called Guaya, is primarily a fishing village. Guaya was the first area in Trinidad sighted by Christopher Columbus on July 31st, 1498. Area along Guayaguayare Bay, between the Lizard River, originally known as Rio de Iguanas, and the Pilote River, Rio de Pilotas, was settled by the French planters and their slaves. In the late 18th century, following the 1783 Cédule de Población. Guaya also has a prominent place in the history of the oil industry. It was the site of which the first commercially viable wells drilled in Trinidad by Randolph Rust and John Elam in May 1902. It is also the birthplace of Gillian Richardson, who won a silver medal for Canada at the 1984 Olympics in the 4x400 meters, and also the birthplace of renowned writer Dion Brandt. We are presently headed towards Maya. At the center of that town are two commercial banks, supermarkets, the main market, and fast food outlets. A 2011 population and housing census stated that there were 35,650 people living in the Mayaro, Rio Claro district, spread across 27 villages. The census recorded that there were 10,351 private households. It also stated that a staggering 56.8% of people 15 years or older had no academic qualifications. 56.8% of people 15 years or older had no academic qualifications, while 18.2% had CSEC and CAPE passes. 18.2% had CSEC and CAPE passes. which is secondary level passes and advanced level passes. A mere 1.4% went on to university, according to the data gathered. The report found Rio Claro at the second lowest household income in the country. According to a 2021 Newsday newspaper report, Mayaro has inadequate parking in the town center. In addition, there are no public washrooms. There are no public washroom facilities at any of the popular beaches at Pleasance, Cheat Street, and the area referred to as Indian Bay. Absence of such facilities is an embarrassment to the Rio Claro Regional Corporation chairman, who has made the provision of toilets and bathrooms at the beaches one of its top priorities. This is the Mayaro fire station on the left. Here we have the Mayaro Public Library on the left. The chairman said business and economic activity in Mayaro and the surrounding districts. Yes, the chairman said business and economic activity in Mayaro and the surrounding districts took a sharp decline even before the COVID-19 pandemic, and he had engaged in several stakeholder meetings. Yet the cooperation of the community and businesses involved to spark growth in new sectors, particularly ecotourism. On the left, you can see the Mayaro Market and the junction with the Naparma Mayaro Road is covered. Yes, the chairman was hoping to get people to see the vision of offering different recreational opportunities for visitors, such as boat tours, fishing adventures, wine embracing and sampling the culinary delights. We are now on the Naparma Mayaro Road. Police station is on the left and the health center on the right. Straight down we can go to Pleasance Beach, but we are turning left here into the Manzana Mayaro Road. Yes, he said the construction of a boardwalk at Pleasance Beach. Construction of a boardwalk at Pleasant Beach and food strip are all part of the chairman's vision. But he says local government cannot do it alone, and he needed the support of some financing. And he needed the support and some financing from central government to get the ball rolling. He was hopeful that planned talks with the Embassy of Japan will lead to at least the provision of public washroom facilities, where small concessionaires can set up stalls and offer items of food and drink on sale to beachgoers. This report was from 2021. I'm not sure if any headway was made. I did not see any newspaper reports saying that some headway was made. Chairman lamented that coastal erosion in parts of Guayaguayare is something that his corporation did not have the resources to combat, and was leaning on the Housing Development Corporation to help provide homes for those people whose homes were swallowed by the sea. The report went on to state that the then MP for the area said it was unfortunate that phase 2 of the Galera Point port was abandoned, as it would have benefited from considerable business from the supply vessels engaged in projects in Guyana. He said the constituency had 17 miles of beachfront, the protected river swamp, a natural saltwater lake, and mud volcanoes, scenic watercourses such as Putua, Mitan, and Pelote rivers, which all can be used to boost ecotourism and attract new visitors. Over the last few decades, the reliance on donations from energy corporations and companies created numerous non-governmental organizations. But as companies downsize, so too have the donations. The then MP believed the area has the potential to attract 10,000 people every weekend. But there must be enough activities to occupy the visitors. He said private investors were a bit too risk adverse to invest in public-private and partnerships. Hope that position would change. Mayaro is an untouched gem, he said. That was according to a 2021 Newsday newspaper report by Darren Bahal. So I hope you are enjoying the trip so far. On the left, the cemetery and primary school. And we are heading towards Putua and Colonel Hart. Well, I have spoken quite a lot. I'm going to shut up now and let you enjoy natural sounds of the journey. Remember, our motto was, let's talk or talk. That's T-A-L-K, not T-O-R-Q-U-E. That's T-A-L-K and or T-O-R-Q-U-E. But nothing is written in stone or titanium. So, let you enjoy, and I will comment when there is something important said. We are in the Ottawa village environs. We are in the Tuna village environs. We are at the Nervo River mouth. we are in the Manzana area beachfront. We are now headed inland from Manzana towards San Grande. we are in Sangre Grande and at the end of our journey. Hope you enjoyed this trip with us. Until the next vlog, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until the next vlog, bye for now.